Go, Carter. You should be the first one. Go.
You can't get too close.
Now let his kids go. Where's daughter?
Val, New York.
Yes, sir.
Fresh out the can.
Damn.
Over 18 stretch.
Damn.
They gave me 7 and 5.
Max B when he gets out.
Max B.
Okay.
Max, out of here. People don't play with me with that conversation. Ain't nobody can tell me nothing about that. That's the first thing I say. You heard?
Okay.
That's how you feel. That end the deal for anybody. There ain't no Max talking about conversation. Period.
Max B has finally stepped back onto the streets after nearly 16 long years behind bars, fighting case after case, setback after setback, yet never letting his name disappear. The wave is officially outside again, louder than ever, but not everyone is thrilled about his return.
Still had J Pop.
I feel righteous.
Damn.
Feeling good.
Feeling good.
I know it is. I'm grateful.
Okay.
I'm thankful.
Love that.
Good.
Because word is someone very familiar is already feeling tight about it. And that someone is Jim Jones. Max coming home isn't just reopening an old chapter, it's reopening old wounds. And the trolling aimed at Jim is already getting crazy. It hasn't even been 3 full days since Max touched down, and he's moving like he never missed a moment. You can't even scroll your phone without spotting him. 1 minute he's at a jewelry store checking out new ice. Next he's turning up at somebody's birthday. Then he's posted in the club, and the next moment he's popping up at a Jets game. He never left the outside world. It's like a full documentary crew is trailing him across the city. This is not a quiet, come home and lay low situation. Max jumps straight back into the spotlight, and he's enjoying every second of it.
That's an A-lister.
Okay.
Anybody that got a sack, balls, look me up, I'm going to get you right.
Part is, the people are eating it up. This is easily one of the most hyped homecomings hip-hop has seen in years, and fans have been waiting over a decade to watch the wave move again. So it makes perfect sense he's everywhere right now. Max didn't just come home. He came home loud, making noise and grabbing headlines nonstop. He even popped the big question to his girlfriend just one day after stepping out, wasting zero time and showing he's ready to start a whole new chapter. But with all that shine comes the drama, because a comeback this loud is guaranteed to wake up old problems. Suddenly, all the familiar conversations are back. Old beefs, snitching whispers, jealousy, people picking sides, the whole messy package. But the storyline heating up the most right now is his long, ugly feud with Jim Jones. Jim spent years trying to distance himself from anything connected to Max B. He said at interview after interview, he don't want to talk about Max, don't want to deal with Max, nothing at all.
B when he gets out.
Max B.
Okay.
Max, fuck out of here.
Alright, okay.
In one interview, sit-down, he even said, F flat out said, B. Then F later, Max tried B. to clean it up. Later on, he tried to walk it back, saying he might be able to forgive, but he'd never forget, which basically meant that door was deadbolt shut. But now that Max is home and moving like he was never gone, it was only a matter of time before Jim's name got dragged right back into the spotlight. And out of all the people who could spark it up again, of course it had to be 50 Cent. Nobody was even surprised. 50 and Jim been throwing shots at each other for years, so the moment Max stepped out, it was the perfect setup for 50 to start clowning. He jumped on Instagram and did what he always does, stirred the whole pot. He posted that meme from Belly with the character Rico eating a banana, labeling him as Jim Jones, basically hinting Jimmy was snitching. Then he added his classic 50 style caption, something like, "Homie said Max home. Harbor packed right now. Jimmy about to drop a dime on these dudes, LOL." And to crank the energy up even more, he threw in a clip of Max B FaceTiming DJ Who Kid. After that, it wasn't just 50 anymore. Bloggers, hip-hop pages, and fans all piled in, and the comment sections turned into straight chaos. For anyone who doesn't know, the tension between Jim Jones and Max B was never some small rap misunderstanding. This was deep, personal, and messy from both sides. Back in the mid-2000s, Jim and Max were moving like real brothers, in the studio together, hanging out non-stop, sliding through Harlem side by side. But even before the music and all the headlines, Max already had a wild past. He had just come home in 2005 after doing 8 years on a robbery charge. And once he got out, The world finally met Max
Jimmy about to
Bigabelli,
drop a dime
a
on
name
these
he created by
dudes,
mixing
LOL.
Biggie Smalls,
And just to turn the heat
Machiavelli,
up
and
even
underscore
more, he added a clip of Max B on
underscore.
FaceTime with DJ
When Max
Who
touched
Kid
down,
after
Harlem was already in a legendary era. The Diplomats were running the whole scene. Cameron, Joel Santana, and Jim Jones had the streets
like
on lock
brothers
with
for real,
anthem after
locking
anthem,
in at the studio,
shaping an
chilling
entire
together,
wave
and
of
sliding
New York.
through Harlem
Through
side
Cam,
by side.
Max connected
even
with Jim, and their chemistry was instant.
Blending Biggie
Jim
Smalls,
signed Max to his
Macaulay,
Bird Gang
and
label
Jigga.
and paired him
When
with
Max
legendary
touched down,
Harlem
Harlem
producer
was
Dame
already
Grease.
beefing.
And from that moment, everything started moving fast. By
Jim
2006,
signed Max to
Max
his Bird
dropped
Gang
his first
label and
mixtape,
teamed him up
Million
with the
Dollar
legendary
Baby,
Harlem
and it hit the
producer
streets
Dame
like
Grease.
a storm. His raspy melodic voice, unpredictable swagger, and that signature
Dame
wavy
Grease.
flow made him
And from
sound
that
like
point,
nobody else in the
everything
game.
started moving
At the
fast.
same time, Bird Gang had another rising star, Stack Bundles. With Max and Stack
Fast.
side by side,
By
Jim Jones had the
2006,
perfect
Max
duo
had
in his
already
corner.
dropped his first
These were
mixtape.
supposed to be the
So,
future
you know,
of
it
Harlem.
was just
And
egos
Max wasn't
clashing,
just
a
another
lack of
artist in the
respect,
crew.
you know what I'm saying?
He was
And
the secret weapon.
Million
He was
Dollar
the voice
Baby
behind the
hit
hooks,
the streets
the
and
melodies,
took over
and the energy
instantly.
that made Jim's tracks
Max's
explode.
raspy melodic
Songs
delivery,
like Baby Girl
his
weren't just
offbeat
hits,
swagger,
they were neighborhood anthems. But the streets talk. And
In
soon
his
people
corner,
started whispering
Jim
that
Jones
Max was
had
the
the
real
perfect
creative
duo.
engine behind
These were
Jim's new
supposed
wave.
to be the future.
That's where the tension quietly started creeping in.
And when this woman, Gina Marie Conway, a prostitute who'd been with Plowden, told her boyfriend Charlie Wingate, aka Max B, a rapper, about the men's money, then
As
Jim
Max's
signed
buzz
Max to his
grew,
Bird Gang
so did
label
his street
and
instincts.
paired him with
And those
legendary
instincts-
Harlem producer Dame Grease. And from that moment, everything started moving fast.
And those instincts
By
ended up pulling
2006,
him into a
Max
situation
dropped his
that
first
flipped his
mixtape,
whole life
Million Dollar
upside
Baby,
down.
and it hit
Around
the
that
streets
time,
like a storm.
we
His raspy
beefing.
melodic
So as
voice,
far as the content or
unpredictable
whatever,
swagger,
it should have went a
and that
different.
signature
Abraham
wavy
Lincoln
flow made
Projects,
him
East
sound
Harlem.
like nobody
His
else
mom
in
was
the game.
addicted to crack.
At the
She
same
even served a
time,
year and a half in
Bird
track
Gang
it
had
down,
another
find
rising
out that
star,
Gina
Stack
still had Jay
Bundles.
Plowden's laptop.
With Max and Stack side by side, Jim Jones had the perfect duo in his corner. These were supposed to
You know, I
be the
wasn't
future
there for
of
that. I
Harlem.
was just happy to
And
be
Max wasn't just
involved,
another artist
you know
in
what
the
I'm
crew.
saying? Just in-
He was the secret weapon. He was the voice behind the hooks, the melodies, and the energy that made
Around that
Jim's
time,
tracks explode.
Max was dealing with his
Songs like
ex-girlfriend,
Baby Girl
Gina
weren't just
Conway,
hits,
who
they
told
were
him about a
neighborhood
flashy
anthems.
dude she knew,
But the
Alan
streets
J.
talk.
Plowden, a man
And
living
soon people
wild,
started
running
whispering that
mortgage
Max
and
was
mail
the real
hustles.
creative engine behind Jim's new wave. That's where the tension quietly started creeping in.
the morning of September 22nd at the Fort Lee Holiday Inn. Police are called there after a man is shot to death. The victim, David Taylor from Florida, was staying in room 227.
They were supposed to slide in while Plowin was out partying, but they got lost, missed exits, and ended up driving around in circles for hours. By the time they finally made it to the Fort Lee Hotel,
Just driving in
Plowin
circles.
was already back in his room.
By the time they finally
passed out
reached
next
the
to
hotel
another
in
woman.
Fort Lee,
Then things took
Plowden
a deadly
was already
turn.
back in his room.
Out of nowhere, another man, David Taylor, walked in. He wasn't supposed to be involved. Sims panicked, pulled out a gun, and shot Taylor execution style. Just like that, what was meant to be a quick grab turned into a
Plowden was already
full-blown
back
murder
in his
case.
room,
From that
knocked out
moment,
next to
everything
another woman.
spiraled fast.
Then things took
Gina
a
got
way
picked up
darker
first,
turn.
and under
Another
the pressure,
man, David
she
Taylor,
folded immediately.
walked in out of nowhere.
She handed over
He
a
wasn't supposed to be part of
169-page
anything.
statement to the
Sims
police,
panicked.
You know, I
revealing
wasn't there
everything
for that.
she
I was
knew
just happy
and
to be
pointing directly at Max
involved.
as the
You know what I'm saying?
mastermind.
Sims
According
panicked,
to her,
pulled out a
he had
gun,
orchestrated
and shot
the plan,
Taylor in the face,
promising her a
execution
better
style,
life
just
if
like
she
that.
played
Harlem
along.
in the late 80s
When
and 90s
things
was
went
hit hard by
south,
the crack epidemic,
she told
but it also
investigators
created tons of
everything to
hip-hop
save
legends
herself.
like Big L.
Once her
Nowadays,
statement
man, the
was
way
in
you
hand,
moving is
feds came for Max
hip hop is no longer
he was
dead.
arrested
Big Bell
and
was
hit
Just
with
like
serious
that. What
charges,
was supposed to be a
including
quick
felony
robbery
murder,
turned into a
even though
full-blown
he
murder
wasn't
case.
physically at the
From
hotel
that
that
moment,
night.
everything
Max's
collapsed
bail was set
fast.
at a staggering
Gina got
$2
picked
million.
up first, and when
Just
the
like
pressure
that, Harlem's rising wave star was staring down the possibility of spending the rest of his
pressure
life
hit,
behind bars.
she folded immediately.
While Max
She
sat in
handed
that
over
cold
a
cell,
160
the world outside kept moving at full speed. The wildest part? Jim Jones, the same man Max once called his brother, was suddenly everywhere.
You know, I
Jim
wasn't
had
there
just
for that. I
dropped
was
We
just
Fly
happy
High,
to be
aka Ballin', and the
involved.
track blew
You know
up
what I'm saying?
overnight,
Just in-
turning into a global anthem and officially cementing him as a solo superstar. Meanwhile, behind bars, Max was hearing a different story. He claimed he had actually written We Fly High himself. According to him, he ghost-wrote that track and several of Jim's biggest hits. The hooks, the melodies, even some ad-libs came straight from his mind. So while Jim was on TV, popping bottles and cashing major checks, Max was locked up, watching someone else profit off the sound he helped build. After nearly 10 months of waiting, Max finally got a break. The judge reduced his bail to $90,000, bringing freedom within reach, but he still needed someone to help him actually touch the streets again. That's when things got messy. Jim stepped in, but it wasn't out of love, loyalty, or brotherhood. Word around Harlem was that Jim would only help with Max's bail if Max signed over his publishing rights and agreed to release 6 full albums under Bird Gang.
Songs already. How you think he got so hot? Came out with all them tapes. I did that. I put them hooks together. I made the hooks. I made the melodies. Yeah. I made the shit, dog. I'm the man.
What seemed like a lifeline quickly turned into a trap. But Max was desperate, locked up, and out of options. So he signed the papers. In that moment, Jim walked away with complete control of Max's publishing, while Max walked out with temporary freedom. His entire future now rested in the hands of the man he once trusted most. When Max B finally stepped out in July 2007, he wasn't the same guy anymore. Prison had hardened him. The smile remained, but behind it was a colder, sharper version of himself, carrying heavy resentment.
I'm in my own world.
He came home broke, betrayed, and stuck in a deal that stripped away everything he had worked for. As his buzz began to rise again, Max realized one thing. If Jim wasn't going to treat him right, he couldn't stay quiet. He was ready for all-out war. And when Max said war, he meant it. He wasn't just fighting for credit. He was fighting for respect, ownership, and his entire identity. Walking away from Bird Gang, he immediately began plotting his next move. If Jim was going to profit from his name, Max was determined to expose the real story to the world. Nothing was off-limits anymore. That's when French Montana entered the picture. At the time, French wasn't the superstar we know today. He was a Bronx street figure, known for his raw, unfiltered Cocaine City DVD series. French already had tension with Jim after a shooting incident fueled rumors and bad blood. When Max and French connected, it wasn't just about dropping music, it was about revenge. Together, they formed Coke Wave, which quickly became much more than a crew. It was a full-blown movement. They were the underdogs, coming straight from the underground, unafraid of anyone. Max knew he didn't have label support, but he had something stronger. The streets were with him. He kept feeding the fans non-stop, dropping mixtape after mixtape for free, making sure nobody could silence his voice. But Max didn't stop at music. He turned his conflict with Jim Jones into pure entertainment. Every interview, freestyle, and appearance became a platform to fire shots without hesitation. His first major strike came with Public Domain 3. The cover alone shook the city. Max standing in a graveyard beside tombstones labeled Millie, Jim Jones, and Vanilla Jules Santana, calling them out as fake, like the infamous group Milli Vanilli. Then the lyrics hit. Max rapped, "I know them dudes need me. I was giving them the loop, but them dudes done blew it," making it clear he believed he built the sound, and without him, they were lost. The record made serious waves all across Harlem. Jim had the fame, but Max had the streets locked down heavy, and he wasn't stopping there. He dug even deeper, going after reputations. One of the most explosive moments in the feud dropped when Max released She Touched It in Miami. This wasn't a casual diss. It was pure disrespect packaged in a track. Max called out Jim's longtime partner, Chrissy Lampin, claiming she'd been intimate with him, and that rumor sent shockwaves through the streets. He even rapped, "She sucked it in Miami," while Big Ellie reportedly went at it from behind, and Max delivered it like it was nothing, laughing it off and mocking Jim, saying he was too emotional to handle the truth. Jim Jones, on the other hand, was completely caught off guard. He didn't see any of this coming. As Max kept firing shots publicly, Jim tried to play it cool, brushing it off and acting like Max didn't matter at all.
To get my room so I could ram it up his ass. Pause. And ram the boom, I hit him. So he can all this my car, right? My window was there. He tried to grab me. So when he came in the window, I punched him in the face.
Jim jumped into interviews, painting Max as just a bitter, washed-up rapper who never made it, another guy who couldn't survive the industry. He even denied that Max had anything to do with We Fly High, insisting he wrote the hit all on his own. But the streets weren't buying it. Old reference tracks had already surfaced, and Max's voice was all over them. Slowly, the conversation began to shift. Fans started questioning how much of Jim's success, even during the Dipset era, was his own talent versus the contributions of those around him. Meanwhile, Max wasn't slowing down. He moved like someone ready to handle pressure from anyone. Publicly, he made it clear this beef wasn't just music, it was real-life energy. Max claimed there was a moment when Jim tried to ambush him in a parking lot, walking his car with a Bentley. According to Max, he saw it coming, hit the gas, rammed Jim's car aside, and still landed a few punches before pulling off. French Montana and Max's closest allies backed up his story, and soon the whole saga was turning legendary. This wasn't just rap beef anymore. It had escalated into a full-on street saga. Then came November 2008, and everything spiked. Max and French decided it wasn't enough to talk. They were showing up in person. Rolling deep into Manhattan, they walked straight into the studio where Jim was recording, proving the city wasn't soft for him anymore. Max later said that when Jim realized what was happening, he called the cops. True or not, just the accusation alone damaged Jim's street credibility. In that world, being labeled as someone who called the police was one of the worst marks you could carry.
I wasn't there for that. I was just happy to be
their crews ran into each other again at a Brooklyn club, and chaos erupted. Chairs flew, bottles shattered, cops and hanged. 9 units rushed in. It was total mayhem. When the dust finally settled, Max had done more than just feud with Jim Jones. He flipped the entire narrative. Jim became a punchline, the one people laughed at, while Max turned into a cult figure. A street legend who didn't need the label game to make noise. But even as Max kept dropping music and feeding his fan base, the law was closing in, and eventually, it all caught up to him. The long-standing case from that disastrous hotel robbery had been dragging through the courts for years. When the final verdict finally hit, it hit hard. Max was slammed with a 75-year prison sentence, and the hip-hop world practically came to a standstill.
Where Ivy at?
They ain't know we was out this early.
Fans were in shock. It felt like the wave had been snatched away before it even had a chance. While the streets mourned, Jim Jones seemed to quietly celebrate. From his perspective, it was like he'd just scored the ultimate business victory. Max was behind bars, his voice silenced, and Jim still had full control over his publishing. He probably thought the battle was finally done. But by May 2010, everything turned upside down once again.
Haven't you been implying that Max cooperated?
No, we got that paperwork.
A judge ruled that Jim Jones no longer had any control over Max B's music. The court confirmed that Max had fulfilled all the terms in both his 2005 and 2007 contracts, officially freeing him from Jim's grip. Then came the real miracle. Max's massive 75-year sentence got slashed to 20 years and later reduced even further to just 12. Slowly but surely, daylight started creeping back in. After all those years, the man who literally built a whole sound from behind bars was finally walking free. Even with his release, the internet couldn't help itself. Controversy popped right back up. As soon as news leaked that Max was about to touch the streets again, familiar snitching rumors resurfaced. These allegations always show up whenever a rapper beats a heavy sentence, and Max wasn't exempt.
I wasn't there for that.
This
I was
time,
just happy
it was none other than Wack 100 stirring the pot. Wack claimed he had paperwork proving Max cooperated with law enforcement while locked up. In a Vlad TV interview, he said the documents showed Max met with authorities and supposedly shared information that helped reduce his original 80-year sentence. He even claimed Max gave details about a woman connected to the case, where she worked, and that this played a role in his sentence being cut. Wack hinted that people close to Max confirmed this, and even suggested there might be video evidence that could surface.
We got the paperwork where he voluntarily met with law enforcement, and then he led them to the location of the female, told them which strip club she worked at. Now, the conversation came up on how he went from 80 to 20 years.
But here's the kicker. No one outside of WAC 100 had ever seen this so-called paperwork. He admitted he never met Max, never spoke to him, and had no direct dealings at all. Most people saw it for what it was, another clout grab. Fans immediately defended Max, calling WAC's claims straight-up nonsense. Honestly, most just didn't care about the rumors. They were thrilled to see Max home, smiling, and living life again. Now that Max B is officially back, the big question is whether he'll dive back into music and if the new generation will embrace him like the old one did. The industry has changed, but the streets don't forget their legends. For now, Max seems focused on enjoying his freedom, soaking up the love, reconnecting with his people, and feeling the energy that's been waiting for him all these years.
I wasn't there for that. I was just